Rayven here. I just wanted to make a little ad for our Patreon that we started. First and foremost, all the funds generated with this Patreon is going to go directly back into the podcast, whether that's better equipment so we can make better sounding episodes, give you guys really cool stuff like stickers, pictures, nice little trinkets from us, or be able to travel to places where there is legal weed or there's certain LGBT communities that we want to interact with and talk to, and potentially have some really cool guests come on the show. Now, right now our Patreon is bare bones, and I do apologize with that, but we hope to make it a little better as time goes on. Right now we have 3 tiers: flour, vape cartridges, and concentrates. Flour is $3 per month. Vapes is $6 per month, and concentrates is $9 per month. With flour, you get access to our Discord, the Scuttle Zone, a private Discord that we have for you guys to kind of interact with each other and potentially interact with us. We have things for like different aspects of the cannabis community and LGBT community where you guys can talk to and kind of just interact with each other and learn from each other, and learn with us. But you also get early access to these episodes. You get a day or two, basically immediately after I'm done editing the episode, I am putting it on the Patreon so you guys can listen to it early. With vape, you have everything from the flour, but you also have access to the private chat room in the Discord server for one-on-one discussions and questions for us. You'll have the ability to basically be, hey, I have a question about this certain thing, and we'll answer it at the end of every episode. We won't get to everyone all at the same time, obviously, but we'll spread it out through the month and be able to get to as many questions as we can. And then with the concentrates, you get everything from flour and vape, but you also get behind the scenes looks at what we do here. I'll show like what I'm editing and like maybe little sound files or like little clips of what we're working on. Our show notes, so you get to see that early, potentially, knowing what topics we're going to be talking about on this next episode. Pictures of stuff in and outside of the recording stuff, like things like cannabis festivals. We'll take pictures and post some of them online, but with the behind the scenes access, you get to see all of that. Basically, all the dumb faces we make at each other, all the cool stuff that we see, and all the cute things that we find. It's my hope with this Patreon that we'll be able to go far and wide and hopefully be able to see some of you guys or have some live shows in the future where you guys can come and interact with us. And obviously no pressure. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of this, and first and foremost, take care of you guys yourselves. If you don't have money to support it, or if something happens you have to stop, we totally understand. Thanks.
This is Smoking Out the Closet. Now, here are your hosts, Alex and Rayven Greer.
Hi, I'm Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi, I'm Alex. I use they, them pronouns.
Welcome back to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
Oh, no, I don't think we were on time that time.
Oh.
On time that time on...
You're
I hurt my brain. Fuck. Do you want to talk about what we're smoking today?
Yeah.
So Verano recently released their flower. They're releasing it like a week or two ago across Pennsylvania around all at the same time. So I decided to grab some. I know Sasha from Culinary Weed Show grabbed some in New Jersey a few weeks ago. So I was kind of like, oh, cool. Okay, I see it. Let me give it a try.
Yeah.
So I got blueberry muffins from them, and I like it. It's it's flavorful. It's beautiful flower. It's got a nice. Still has plenty of the trichomes. They're healthy pistils in it. Is it pistils?
I don't know.
The little orange wispy hairs on the flower. It's not the strongest flower out there, but I feel like if you need like kind of like reckweed, you know?
Yeah, it gives that vibe to it. Verano does, like, because I've tried a different strain from them. I don't know. I feel like it's just them. It's how they grow. Their THC, in my personal like run-ins with them, their terpenes have been on the like average side, but their THC is a little bit higher. Because I've seen like mid 20s mostly from them consistently, which is cool. It's across like their grow. That's what they grow. But I don't know. It's the blueberry muffins we had from Standard Farms. I think I like a little bit better. It's a little bit more medicinal. I also like to medicate less often,
Mm-hmm.
like once in the morning. It'll carry me through the afternoon, and then maybe an up for like a short period of time, maybe before I go home or something, or like when I get home to relax. But yeah, I just don't feel like the Verano lasts super long or has like an after medication effect, if that makes sense.
No, no, it does. Um, I mean, it's got before obviously you heat it up and everything. That THC is still in there. So it's got like just a hair shy of 20% THCA and about 2 point or sorry 0.289, I think is what it says. It's really hard to see the font on this.
They're horrible.
Percent THC. Um, and the highest terpene is caryophyllene at 0.72, which is not bad. But then the next one drops down to about 2.8, or sorry, 0.28. So, I mean, if that was a little higher on that beta myrcene, this would be a really good strain for somebody with like pain issues and everything. But like, it's so fucking low.
Yeah.
Um, But then again, most flour is kind of low, but even still, usually you see like that one that will be like a 7, like 0.7, 0.8, and the next one will be like a 0.5.
Yeah.
So this blueberry muffins isn't the greatest terpene wise, but I still think it's a very flavorful, really good strain.
Yeah, it is. It is rather nice. Like it has a good feel to it. Like whenever you're consuming it. Yeah, the taste is kind of interesting too. It's earthy, but it's kind of blueberry.
I feel like it's like a definitely smells like when you open it, it smells like a blueberry muffin being
Yeah.
baked. Taste wise though, and I don't know if it's just because I had it open for a little bit now, it's more of kind of like picking wild blueberries almost, like the kind of that dirt earthy taste you get with those.
Yeah.
um I like it. It definitely smells like blueberries baking when it's going.
Yeah. Going. Very choice descriptor there, Rayven.
We talked about smoking before when we smoke it.
Yeah. When you consume it, when you medicate with it.
But yeah, I give it a do you have a rating on it? I'm still kind of debating where I'm
Are you
at.
gonna like feel me out to feel where you are on yours?
No, I'm thinking either like a 3.8 or a 4.
Like a 3.5 for me. It's all right. I'm not gonna like reach for it. Also, it's in like the 50. It's 55 for. It's
Yeah.
55 for an eighth too. So it's not
No,
something I'm gonna
well,
reach for.
this is the essence, so this is gonna be 50.
It's 50. I'm still not gonna reach for
Yeah.
it. Terrapin's 30, and it does. Sometimes in certain aspects I feel like a better job.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 3.8. Mostly just because the upsides for it is the flavor, how nice the cure process is on this one, like the result, I should say, of the cure. It's just healthy, great flavors and everything.
No, I want to say this. I don't think it's a bad flower. That's not what I'm saying. It's just for me.
Yeah, I know.
Had how I medicate.
I
And
just
this varies from person to person.
And that's why I think I don't give it a 4 or higher, just because it takes a lot out if you're doing a medical based approach to this.
Yeah.
But it's nice if you have the chance to try it, and it's not ridiculously expensive. If you have the ability to use discounts or whatever, you go to your dispensary, try it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Do you want to bring up the first topic?
Again. Yeah, how many do you have? Because I only have like a topic. So how would we balance?
I have more. I mean, it doesn't
How
really
do we? I don't know. We want to balance the episode this way.
Fine.
You do topic. I'll do
first.
topic. You do topic.
Okay, I'll go first then.
It was balanced.
So gender identity is protected by the ADA, or the Americans with Disabilities Act. Is kind of my little show note there. Recently, a federal court ruled that a prison defied the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA for short, by refusing to give a transgender woman proper access to trans-related care and gender-affirming facilities. The Fourth Circuit Court, which is of the Supreme Court's area, is the first court to state that the ADA must protect those with gender dysphoria against discrimination, according to the National Law Journal. The court released its 56-page opinion, which I've read. It's a lot, so I'll just bring up some of the important stuff. On Williams versus Kincaid. It's Kincaid.
I would say that Kincaid.
Okay, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this. On Tuesday, siding with the plaintiff, Keisha Williams, a trans woman who was recently incarcerated for 6 months in Fairfax, Virginia, which is the northern part of Virginia, not the area I'm from, thankfully. Because Fairfax kind of sucks.
They're from the cool part of Virginia.
Eh.
Debatable.
Yeah. Although she was initially housed in a women's facility, she was moved to the men's facility when her nurse found out that she had not received bottom surgery. Subsequently, Williams was forced to wear men's clothes and denied access to her hormone therapy. The document also alleges that Williams was willfully misgendered by prison officials and denied accommodations such as the ability to shower in private or be searched by female officers. Upon being released, Williams sued the sheriff of Fairfax County, a prison deputy, and a prison nurse, alleging that the treatment she was subjugated to was in violation of the ADA, the Rehabilitation Act, the U.S. Constitution, and state common law. But a lower court dismissed her complaint partially on the basis that gender dysphoria is not defined as a disability under the ADA. The Fourth Circuit Court, however, disagreed, which means the case will return to the district court. I don't know fully how Supreme Courts, there are circuits, and I don't fully know how they work, but I believe the Fourth Circuit is like the county's Supreme Court, I think. Someone who's a lawyer, who knows a lawyer, or knows law better than me. There's different circuits, and each circuit means is a higher grade on like the scale politically in the government. But basically what the court exactly said was, because this is an appeal from a district court's grant of motion to dismiss, we must, quote unquote, assume the truth of the facts as alleged in the complaint, end quote. The quote, Fitzgerald v. Barnstable School Commons, 55 U.S. 24-6, 24-9 in 2000. We thus recount those facts. And I believe that was the major court case with trans bathrooms in schools.
I remember that.
I believe is what I didn't follow the link on that one to try finding what it was exactly. Williams is a transgender woman whose gender identity (parentheses female) differs from the gender (parentheses male) she was assigned at birth. Prior to her incarceration, Williams had changed her legal name, lived her life as a woman. Her home state of Maryland had recognized her gender as female, issued a driver's license with that designation. Williams suffers dysphoria, a quote-unquote discomfort or distress that is caused by discrepancies between a person's gender identity and the person's sex assigned at birth. And they go on to talk about like where they get the quote, which is from the Professional Association of Transgender Health Standards of Care, version 7 from 2012. Um, People suffering from gender dysphoria often benefit from medical treatment, including hormone therapy. Williams had received such medical treatment in the form of daily pills and biweekly injection for 15 years prior to her incarceration. The court also agreed with Williams's argument that even if gender dysphoria and gender identity were not considered two separate categories, dysphoria can be defined as a physical impairment, since hormone therapy enables feminine or masculinization of the body, and that without it, Williams experienced emotional, psychological, and physical distress. Gender dysphoria could be seen as a disability under the ADA due to the potential physical basis of dysphoria. In light of the basic promise of equality that animates the ADA, we see no legitimate reason why Congress would intend to exclude from the ADA's protection transgender people who suffer from gender dysphoria. That's a lot from like bits and pieces I took from the different pages. Now, previously, back in the 70s, they tried adding gender identity disorder, which used to be the previous diagnosis from the DSM 4. And then when the DSM 5 came out, it was changed to gender dysphoria. Gender identity disorder was kind of scrapped by the government because they did try putting it under the ADA back in like the 70s or 80s. But it was totally scrapped out from that. But because of this, semantics, which is what I love, comes into play with the federal government. Because the terminology of the bill that stopped it being joined to the ADA was gender identity disorder, not gender dysphoria. But I personally feel like this is kind of a double-edged sword because you don't need gender dysphoria to be trans. I found out I was transgender because I had gender euphoria moments, and it kind of shattered my perception of what my gender was. It broke.
I feel that. Mine got stolen. That's the whole thing. It's just it's gone now. It's
like a tooth fairy in the middle of the night. It was just a gender fairy with like, ha, break.
Pretty much. And you don't have to hate yourself to find out what you love about yourself and who you are inside of yourself.
And you don't have to have gender dysphoria to be trans. And that's the biggest thing I hate about certain parts of just the trans community with ourselves, because there was a lot of people who gatekeep and say you have to have dysphoria, you have to feel like this, you have to transition this one way, you have to do something a certain other way. Sorry.
You have to medically transition to be trans. You have to socially transition to be trans. You have to contemplate surgery for this many hours a week to be considered trans. So all that bullshit, gatekeeping, imposter syndrome sparking bullshit.
And that's what pisses me off, because like they use this like, oh well, you have to have gender dysphoria, then people are gonna be like, oh okay, then you're just, something's wrong and you're crazy. Essentially, like you have a mental disorder is what they're going to put if it does get protected by the ADA. Well, I can see people using it as like, hey, we do understand this isn't a thing really, but to kind of make sure that the Republicans don't fuck with y'all.
Can we also take like a half step back here? Doesn't gender dysphoria also tie in with anxiety disorder somehow?
It can, I think. I'm not a psychiatrist.
I'm not sure. I think I kind of remember something like that in one of my something about that makes sense to me. Please, somebody that has a psychology degree back me up on this, because I find this shit fascinating. This is actually what I wanted to do at college.
I mean, that makes sense, but still, it's one of those things. Is basically like, oh, okay, so you're trans. Instead of it just being who you are, like you're gay, it's like, you can't change the freckles that pop up on your skin, or well, that's a really bad example, but like no matter what you throw on for contacts, no matter what color, your eyes are still going to be the same color. So that's kind of what being trans is like, in a way. Like, you are trans. It doesn't matter how you present yourself. Um, once you
What you look like on the
so
outside.
yeah, it's you are trans, and that's it. That was a horrible analogy. I'm so sorry. I am very stoned right now.
I was trying to keep up. That was so hard, and
I'm sorry.
my ADHD. I'm starting to come back down, and my ADHD brain said, "Are you quite? How long? What is? I am so lost. I'm gonna sit here and nod. I'm so sorry. I
It's
got
okay.
so lost.
But it's basically like you are trans. And I hate that there's like this whole you have to have gender dysphoria to be trans. I hate that like there's so much of a push. It's like you are trans.
I saw a Reddit post today from earlier today on the r/non-binary that was I claim the label, but like I don't feel the dysphoria. I don't want to be undermining other non-binary people because I don't experience it in insert stereotypical non-binary gender dysphoria weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you are valid,
Mm-hmm.
my sibling. You are so valid. Like, there's no right answer.
There isn't.
No right way.
I just hope that like this doesn't cause issues, because I feel like the Democrats are doing this to protect trans rights, but I feel like it's going to come with a double-edged sword, like a kind of a bad push.
Yeah.
But I don't know what other way they can just easily just protect us from all these Republican bills that are going on, because I think it was Tennessee or Georgia just passed a bill that you can't medically transition until you're 21 now. And then, what's going to stop them from turning it to 25 and then push it on, and then just stop all adults from medically transitioning, like Florida is trying to push.
It's so ridiculous. I had a light bulb moment there.
What was it?
I remember how they're related. It's okay, and this is just me trying to make sense of things and like kind of springboarding off you and using the podcast as a thing, because this is just me throwing ideas out here into the fucking wind and seeing what sticks, right?
Okay.
Of how this is going to work. As I feel like a lot of other trans people probably are trying to figure out how the fuck is this going to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, oh my god, is it gone? Oh no.
It's okay. It's okay.
Shit, it was so profound.
You know what? I'm leaving this in the podcast too.
It was so profound. And now it's so gone. I hope it comes back.
Well, if it does come back, we'll make a post, and that's why I'll keep it in here.
I really hope it comes back.
We'll make an Instagram post. Do you want to move to your topic?
Yeah. Man, that was so sad. I really hope that comes back. I'm gonna write it down. So, in the same gay vein of things that are going on in the state, oh god, it came back.
Okay.
Holy shit. So the way that anxiety disorders and gender dysphoria are related, I remember this now. It has to do with you, and this is still horrible to like, you have to have this one thing to be considered like medically necessary with being trans, and the fucking way you have to get around insurance and shit. It's bullshit. Okay. One of my friends is going through this right now. It's bullshit. And I feel so frustrated for them too. But it's so shit, because it's like, oh, you have to be diagnosed with this thing, and this thing causes anxiety. It causes extreme distress. It is causing a negative impact on your mental well-being. So it's not necessarily calling it a disorder, like a mental disorder, like there's something mentally wrong with you. It's saying that it's causing you to have symptoms of anxiety disorders because of this thing.
Okay.
It is the cause of your anxiety disorder.
That makes a little more sense, but it's still the fact I hate that like it's a
It's
requirement.
I
Like
know.
here in Pennsylvania, I have to have documentation to that I had to get a diagnosis from a psychiatrist. Basically, yes, I have gender dysphoria to get my hormone medication. And she explained that to me when I first got it. It was like, look, I'm going to write down you have this. You are up very obviously trans. You have a lot of what you say of how you feel, what you should be in your body, and everything is how you know that we kind of work together and kind of help with that. But she's like, I have to have this documentation here. If you don't experience it, don't worry. It's not a requirement for you to be having it. And she kind of explained how, and that's kind of why I feel like that too, you know?
I have a similar story with a doctor that I went to for like birth control.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the first doctor that ever took into account my gender for anything, because that's since it like changed. I felt comfortable with this person. I kind of stumbled upon them by accident over in state college, and they were fucking amazing. And it's like, hey, you know, what they kind of saw me like get uncomfortable when they said my legal name. They were like, do you have a nickname? Do you have something you want to be called? And I was like, yeah, it's this. And they were like, oh, well, what are your pronouns? And I'm like, they're this. And then when the gynecologist came in, she was like, so what's the reason you're here? Kind of like, and I was like, well, I hate this and it's awkward and it makes me feel kind of meh. And they're like, oh, wait, well, what you're explaining to me when you're not on birth control anyway is just very not normal. And I'm going to give this to you. Ha, winky.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm just like, well, I feel seen.
Yeah, state college was that one thing I would say a lot of the doctors in that area would be really good or were really good with that. Like my PCP, his daughter was trans, and like he would go to what's it called here? It's in Philly every year. It's a big trans thing. It's gonna bug me.
I have no idea. All I hear in my head right now is road trip. That's what that sounds like, is a road trip. Big trans thing in Philadelphia.
The Mazzoni Center. And then they have like every year like a big conference and everything for like trans people on the East Coast and everything. He goes there and tries learning what he can because like if he's not like he's like that's not really his expertise, but he still likes trying to learn. And it was very nice to be seen by him. We were like, okay, I know some of this stuff and everything. It's like when he joked with me because that last migraine that like put me in the ER because like my face went numb. He's like, well, they did a pregnancy test. He walks in and goes, well, you're not pregnant. I'm like, what? He's like, oh yeah, they did a pregnancy test on you.
And
like,
we thought we were going to get the bill from the insurance company.
Which we never did.
No, that was funny. I'm glad you're not pregnant, love. We'd have some explaining to do.
That'd be a neat trick.
That'd be very neat.
Okay, so we got about like 5 minutes left till our break.
Okay.
Do you want to start your article or do you need a little more time than that?
I'll probably no.
Well, I can stop it here.
We'll stop it here
okay.
just to be on the safe side. Better safe than sorry.
I'm not gonna have an on this day in history this week. I will say mostly just because of we had to push back recording, just because schedule issues. So I'm kind of pushing this a little. We're recording a little later than we normally do.
It's Monday and not Sunday.
So I'm just gonna not do one this week. Sorry about that. If you guys are really looking forward to it, we had a lot of like mental recovering from the live show.
Yeah, the live show and this past week was...
Do we want to talk about that though?
Yeah, we should have a reflective period on the live show instead of just, hey, this is an event and we're not going to talk about anything afterwards. Bye.
So yeah, we were at the Pittsburgh Cannabis Fest. If you couldn't tell, we were doing a bunch of ads for a long time.
That was so fun. Our Instagram was blowing up. I posted things. I actually got back on my 420NB Instagram. I haven't posted on the thing in forever, I feel like. And showing off some of the stuff we got at the festival.
It was a real fun time. I mean, we took a couple breaks. We only got like about like 2 hours and some change of audio, which I do apologize. But between the helicopters coming in and out,
Listen, it's a doubly long episode though.
yeah,
Like we
true.
talked to some awesome freaking people. There's also no way we're gonna be able to talk to everybody
Yeah,
in that amount of time.
we tried, but like there were so many deals. I feel like we should have just started a little before, but then we would have been starting at like 9, 10 o'clock recording. Like we should have just
No.
talked some of those people while they were already like when we first talked to them.
I just brought our microphone freaking with us.
But
Is what we should have done the first time around.
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. I also didn't want to feel like we were rushing people to get set up.
True.
What is that? The garbage truck.
I do want to apologize to keeping it glassy though. Shout out to you guys. You guys are really cool.
We didn't get to get back around to you. You guys got really busy.
You got really busy. We got very lucky with Curated Flame. I
Yeah.
got like one of them as like near the end.
There's
kind
a
of thing.
lull of, you know.
I had a great time. I mean, we did take some time to recharge our equipment, take some time for us, recharge ourselves.
Go get some food.
Yeah, the food there.
Get re-elevated. I re-elevated during the. I'm surprised Instagram let me elevate. That was hilarious.
I mean, it was really fun. It was a really great event until I ate that Delta 8 gummy.
See, I didn't have much of it. Delta 8 is light shit to me. You had a different reaction.
I had a different reaction for a different reason.
She has, I think we might have talked about it before, an artificial sweetener allergy.
I am allergic to aspartame, specifically phenylene in it.
Yeah, and I think this might have been sugar-free gelatin.
Yeah, and I didn't think about it till after I already ate it. I literally thought, like, it was in my mouth still. I'm like, this is probably sugar-free. But I'm already too late. I swallowed half of it already.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I had a bad reaction. Not a fun time.
I got the other... Mia and I were talking about the other reaction, which was, hey, do you think it's kicking in? Yeah. Is that what that feeling is? Is your chest kind of tingly? Yeah. Okay. Is anything else happening for you? No, not really. Okay, cool.
That
was about it. And it's like, what the fuck? I don't understand what the big deal about this is.
To be fair, it could have just been really bad Delta 8.
It really could have been because it was fucking free gummies on the street. It was free drugs on the streets.
During the cannabis festival.
Oh, free cannabis, free Delta 8 cannabis.
I was so happy there was no police there.
Mm. Yes, exactly. I saw one townie as we were setting up, pulling around, like coming basically out of the hospital. Excuse me, I didn't mean to spit. And for all we know, now that I'm thinking about it, they could have been taking a convict like out of the hospital,
or could have been interviewing like a victim or something
happening at the hospital, right? Because we're right beside the hospital.
And holy crap, I feel bad for the live show. I tried editing most of the
helicopters. But as far as we know, yeah. But after the festival started, you saw none of them. I was so happy about it.
Well, we're at that time. We're going to take a quick little break here, and we'll get back with Alex's topic.
Yeah.
And we are back.
My face hurts. I've been laughing so much today. So I found a more serious matter in the same vein of what we were talking about before we started our little spot about the Cannabis Festival. Back to the queers. I found an article the other day that I sent to myself to make sure that I would remember to talk about it on the episode. That Governor Tom Wolf signed an executive order on Tuesday the 16th to ban conversion therapy. A discredited form of therapy that seeks to change someone's sexual orientation or gender identity for minors. Like,
that's good.
Yes!
Because that's been outlawed in Europe for a while now.
Yeah.
It's considered, like, abuse. And, I mean, yeah.
The order also directs the Department of Human Services, among other agencies, to ensure that state funds are not being used to provide or reimburse for conversion therapy.
Yeah, that was a weird thing when I first saw that article or heard about this. It's like, wait, we were funding
this? What the fuck, Pennsylvania?
And my thing is, I think it's more of, either at the small local level was being funded,
Yeah.
or he's setting it up so whoever comes in after him can't set anything up to be funded by the state government.
Yeah. Conversion therapy is traumatic practice based on junk science that actively harms the people it supposedly seeks to treat. Wolf, a Democrat, said in a statement. This discriminatory practice is widely rejected by medical and scientific professionals and has been proven to lead to worse mental health outcomes for LGBTQIA plus youth subjected to it. This is about keeping our children safe from bullying and extreme practices that harm them. The executive order makes Pennsylvania the 26th state to at least partially bar this practice for minors, according to the Movement Advancement Project, an LGBTQ think tank. So
nice.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're halfway there.
Halfway there.
Halfway there.
But yeah, victory. I saw that and I was like, it's about fucking time. How did we not do this already?
It's been a very big uphill battle with a lot of like church-based organizations paying lobbyists or being lobbyists and paying politicians.
Fuck the church. Fuck them. I don't want them in. No, separation of church and state. God damn it. This is why I'm a Satanist. This is why we rally and protest against shit like this. Come on. It's bullshit.
Oh, speaking of that, real quick side tangent. There was a Texas school board that now, if there is, I don't know if it's all across Texas. I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure. Is if you get donated posters that says "In God We Trust" to the schools, you have to prominently put them up. But the problem is the way it's written is it only says "In God We Trust." You say which God? It just as long as it has that in it, you have to display it.
Hell yes. So the Satanic Temple could put their fucking. Oh my God, yes, please.
Someone on TikTok was like, so what I'm going to do is I designed this poster with "In God We Trust," and right, like a little bit right above on top, a little bit overlaying, it says Dionysus, and it's a statue of Dionysus bust.
Yes.
With a bunch of like fruit and grapes behind him.
Yes. I want to see the Satanic Temple get on this.
Oh, I would love to.
Have fucking Baphomet there, and God We Trust. Absolutely.
So yeah, the quick little side tangent on that, because the separation of church and state is slowly becoming not a thing anymore with this the way the GOP's been lately. Also, if you're in Pennsylvania, don't vote for fucking Dr. Oz.
Yeah, no. Did we learn? We should have learned the first time with celebrities trying to be in political places of power.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it.
So going back into the train tracks, getting back on track. So there's been a debate online with the LGBT community, whether or not a quote-unquote straight guy is in a quote-unquote queer relationship.
Oh, Jesus Christ, this shit.
When they date someone who is non-binary.
I've been thinking about this too a lot because I'm in this situation not frequently, but it comes up when I think someone is straight and they find interest in me.
So this has kind of been like there's two sides to this big one, and the big prominent part is a lot of people are saying if you have to explain to your boyfriend or girlfriend that whoever the straight person is, with air quotes, that they're in a queer relationship, they're probably not seeing you for the gender you see yourself that you are. They're just seeing you for the sex, or that they're not really fully validating you. Because this one person brought up the fact that she talked to two guys who had both two non-binary partners, and they're like, yeah, but the parts match. It's literally what they told her. And she was like, what?
Is the appropriate reaction here rage? Because I just want to punch.
And so because of stuff like that, a lot of people have been like,
that irritates me.
Been like, within this little topic, there's two topics, and then outside there's another topic. But basically a lot of people are like, well, the relationship is queer, but that doesn't mean the person who identifies as straight isn't straight, because you always have those, like, you can still be an identity and have that one person that's an exception
The asterisk.
and still be that identity. You know what I mean? And then there are some people who, because love's a strange and weird thing, so are relationships and identities and all that.
Sexual attraction is a whole different thing.
But like, it's not all just 100% cut and dry, black and white. So, could a straight guy date a non-binary person? Yes. And if that straight guy goes, yes, this is a queer relationship, like two bisexual people who just happen to be straight passing, are in a straight passing relationship. But that doesn't mean the guy who is dating, say, the non-binary person, the person that's not the straight person here in the equation, doesn't mean they're not straight. But then comes into the question of, is it all the straight people that date non-binary people assholes about this? Some are, some aren't. And that's okay, you know?
I have seen both of them. I have seen two sides of them. Yeah, it's I can see two on the one side and one specific one on the other side, and it's just
rage.
Non-binary rage is intensified because this shit gets me heated. And this,
I will say, some don't understand that, you know, that they're in a queer relationship, or, you know, the relationship is kind of queer.
Yeah.
Because either they don't fully understand or they just don't care. Like, the fact that, like, they don't care what the relationship is labeled, they just care about the person.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that.
Yeah, I have seen that too.
But
which, that's cool.
Some of them it's just, what? And but for some it's more of, oh, I don't want to be labeled as gay or this or that, you know. But then they, you know, are so in love with someone who's non-binary, and it's weird.
Yeah.
But there's also the issue, and some people brought it up, is the fact that while this whole big debate is going on, this is a very niche topic. While the thing of the straight person not validating the non-binary person or invalidating the non-binary person or making them feel bad about being non-binary, that is an issue. The whole discussion, the whole topic of, is this a queer or not relationship, it's very nuanced, and some people are getting upset because it's pushing back other narratives that we have to fix first before we get to this nuance thing.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying we can't do both at the same time. I think, you know, this is always a huge discussion, but here in the States right now, there is a lot of trans people being killed. There's a lot of bills going against the LGBT community. And there's so much issues within the LGBT community with homophobia, transphobia, biphobia, racism, ableism, ageism,
all the isms,
all the
bad
isms.
Bad isms.
That this is just, some people believe that this is just a niche kind of splitting hairs thing that we shouldn't be talking about, and should be fixing, you know, our community from within and making sure our community stays alive.
It's still an important thing, though.
I still think it's an important thing.
I still think it's important, and we need to fight. You know, it's about as much about the battle as it is about the war.
Mm-hmm. And, like, my thing is, this is more like, why can't we talk about both, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of, like, that's how I found it at first, was more of the, why are we talking about this when there's other stuff going on? But it's weird, and I feel like we can talk about both, you know?
Yeah, I feel like we can too. So, what are you?
Huh?
What are you doing?
I was trying to figure out where your son was.
Right there.
He wasn't there a minute ago.
You're a good boy for now. You kept looking out there, and I kept looking.
I heard him in there. I heard him in the kitchen. He's not supposed to be in the kitchen.
No, he's not supposed to be in the kitchen.
Because he can get hurt. But is there anything you wanted to add to this part?
No, this ropes back into even just being a good ally.
Mm-hmm.
Educate yourself, please.
Yeah.
And do the legwork and make the conscious effort Make the conscious effort and just step up. That's all I have to say. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship you're in. If you know somebody who is not binary, trans, under the LGBTQIA umbrella, alphabet mafia, whatever you would like to call us, do your research. Be an educated ally. Be an active ally. Go the extra mile. We love it. We love to see effort. Love to see it.
So my next topic was there was a person on Twitter by the Twitter handle That High Giant, but their thing was AKB. I'm guessing it's their initials for their name. They posted the other day, what is your favorite part of cannabis regulations? Wrong answers only. So I kind of wanted to spend some time talking about this, just us kind of bringing up some of the things that they love sarcastically.
Yeah.
And kind of talking about them as people who are participating and are kind of dealing with firsthand cannabis regulations. So I wanted to start with the one I brought up, which was we love the fact the average person cannot start their own cannabis business in most states to have a small family-run cannabis company. I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, everything I'm reading from the Twitter is the opposite. It's opposite day on this Twitter thread.
Opposite day. Also, if the heavy sarcasm does not, if you can't pick up on sarcasm, that too.
But it's, so I hate that a lot because it's to get a cannabis license, you have to either be lucky, like crowdfunded, or be rich already.
Yeah.
And like so many of these licenses carry so many fees. Things change, like California. So much has changed in the last 4 or 5 years since they went legal. Or not even 4 or 5. Well, 4, yeah. They went legal in 2018, I think. But basically, so much has changed with the way they operate cannabis and everything that so many businesses went under because they couldn't pay all these changes and all these fees to continue with these changes. And that's why unfortunately, we have so many big MSOs because they were already rich. They put money into cannabis and they got richer and they continued to expand. Which some of them, like Cureleaf, is in a big trouble again. Oh yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
I can talk about that real quick here, actually.
Everybody getting in trouble.
So Cureleaf is actually in trouble because they are being sued by a company for backing out of a merger negotiation, and they just backed out of it out of nowhere. So the refusal to bargain, bad faith bargaining, is being charged to Cureleaf. And Brian Box Brown online was the first one to bring it up that I saw on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was very much like, oh yeah, they're just either it's like this insider trading tactic or something, or they were just fucking with this company. I don't know. But yeah, they were just, yeah, we'll buy you. Nope. Kind of like the part of the reason why I like the Elon Musk and Twitter thing is kind of on standstill. It's kind of shit like that.
That shit.
East Coast Amsterdam on Twitter put limits on possession (parentheses) of a plant.
Can I say what I love?
Yeah.
I love that I can't grow my medicine that is literally a fucking plant. I can't keep it as a house plant.
Yeah. Like, what are they gonna? They don't ban tomatoes.
No. Tomatoes are good for you.
Yeah.
They don't ban them. Mm-mm. They don't regulate your fucking tomato garden.
You can technically grow your own tobacco.
Yeah.
Just not for the sell or the share.
Yeah.
I think. I know the Amish have to have someone like a representative for their flock.
There's a lot of extra steps.
But yeah, they're allowed to grow their own too.
But
it's just weird. Someone put the fact that THC and CBD products are regulated in the exact same manner.
Yeah, what is up with that?
It is weird. So the problem is, I think part of it depends on where their state. If they're talking about like dispensaries, like here in Pennsylvania, we don't have just pure CBD products with like very low delta 9 THC.
Not in medical.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we
Yeah.
don't have that in dispensaries.
Yeah, in dispensaries.
So the CBD products still have too high THC, and that's probably
Yeah.
why. I'm not 100% sure because I'm not sure where this person, Canna Relief, they're
Where they're located. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I did not mean to bump the table.
they're in Canada.
Canada.
Yeah, they're in Ontario. So I can't even say how the regulations are there for Canada.
I don't live there.
Someone says the rules are drug policy alternatives. Tweeted the response: that the rules are enforced based upon whether a cabinet minister is affiliated with your company. And then I was like, "Oh, sorry, you said wrong answers only." Being extra sarcastic and like kind of backhanded.
Yeah.
Which they are also Canada.
Canada.
New Life Canna said the labeling restrictions are our favorite. It is good that they recognize brand and info matters very little. Warnings honestly could be more of the package.
Yeah.
So honestly, I do like that. I do like that. I agree with them, I should say. Like so much of it is warning labels and not enough of it is like the cannabinoids and terpene
and
profiles.
The actual shit you need to know about the plant. You can warn about shit all day, but you also educate to help reduce the stupid people.
That we can't grow for sale in our own dwellings. It is so practical for a farmer to put up a ton of dough to subdivide their land just so they can have two addresses to be compliant. Two different addresses, sorry. Makes so much sense. So this is going into the grow process. And I think it's part of it is just because of how the farmers have to get around to be compliant. But my thing is, why can't just a regular person just start a little farm and sell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the support we get from the financial institutions.
Oh yeah.
Like the FDIC that we've complained about before.
Oh yeah, all that shit.
Loving that possession limit. Glad the government is looking out for my safety. And I love how it's super vague, sarcastically, she said. I hate the super vague definition of 90-day supply.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
Because
I know we've got on our soapbox about this before, but what the fuck is it supposed to mean?
Yeah, because like you could look at that and someone can argue that's more than 90. Like I'm looking at our shelf right now. That's more than 90 days. And I'm like, really,
do you
buddy?
know us?
Do you have any idea how many of those are like a half or quarter empty?
Yeah. Most of those have like a half a gram in it. If that. Some crumbs.
No. Most of these are actually kind of decently, like at least halfway.
Also, where did the vape cartridges fall into that category?
Yeah, true.
I've never figured that out either.
But I can finish a vape cartridge in like a week.
Yeah, same. I've done it once.
So, and I got like 2 on the shelf. So, I mean, concentrates last me forever, but like, I don't use concentrates for everything. So that's kind of, I use these for different situations and different scenarios. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's medication.
Here's one. The labor abuses from that last one with the loving the possession limit was Roderick cannot talk. Roderick McDonald. And then this one is UWW Canada, the labor abuses, which happen here also in the States. Because a lot of these MSOs are having really bad turnover because they're doing the whole Amazon method of it's cheaper just to have high turnover than to pay your employees a proper wage.
Yeah, which is fucking bullshit.
Someone said, Mike said metric. So metric is kind of like how Pennsylvania has Jane. It's a really horrible.
I love it.
Cool Nerd Weed Show could talk more about metric because I feel like it's more of a rec state thing than a thing we have here.
Yeah.
Jane
was also built for rec states too. Fun fact. So rec states can't have to deal with that nightmare. Fuck that.
Iman Cry or no, CYR just did the Thanos GIF everything.
Mm-hmm. Everything.
And I feel it. I feel that.
In my soul.
But yeah, it's a horrible system and it's really bad. And then you have the freaking people who are pushing. I saw someone on Twitter this morning, which was like, hey, she was like this regulatory thing, like anti-drug, like booze, fucking like
Fun.
coalition thing.
Anti-fun.
Yeah. In Florida. And she was talking about how this study down in Florida was like, oh, they found Delta 8 gummies was like higher than the 0.3% THC that is capped by law. And then when you look at the articles, it was like, oh, we sampled 8 different, like it was like a local news thing. Like we sampled 8 different gummies from 8 different Delta 8 shops. I'm like, so you sampled 8 pieces of 8 edibles from 8 different locations, or like eight. They didn't even say 8 different locations, but that's what I'm assuming. But they sampled about 8 Delta 8 edibles and found that there was like 3 or 4 of them that had 0.3 or higher.
8.
Yeah, 8 out of all of fucking Florida.
8.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a SpongeBob moment. 8. 100. That's how many minimum you need.
Not even that. It's just that's not a controlled study.
No,
that is a very biased study. And she's going on like, this is why we need to regulate. This is why we need to ban Delta 8, and everyone's like,
this is like the vape bullshit all over again.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, this is why we need to ban them, and everyone's like, do you mean regulate them?
Regulate them.
No, here's my 2 cents. Are you referring to the vape ban in PA?
No, I'm talking about the bullshit studies that used to go around of, oh, like this is popcorn lung, okay. And the fucking embalming fluid or some sort of weirdly specific chemical that's given off by this weirdly specific kind of cotton at this exact fucking temperature in your vape coil. I'm like, nobody fucking does that shit. If you're running it that hot, you're gonna kill your fucking self because it's too hot. Mm-hmm. Like, Jesus, that's the shit I'm talking about. That's just slimly, marginally possible.
So, quick question. So apparently some people have been getting adverse effects from the plant-based terpenes coming back in, which is why we found out that was the ban, but not a lot of people have talked about it.
Interesting.
For the cannabis side. I don't know if that's just allergic reactions to the actual plants they're using or anything or what. Someone brought up on Twitter, do you think that if they're using non-fully cannabis terpenes, that if they're using botanical added terpenes to the product, do you think there should be a label on that?
Absolutely.
And
you need to know exactly what the hell is in there,
because you're going to have people that want to prefer just having the cannabis one, even if it's not an issue or not. I'm not saying one way or the other because I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like the fact that if you're adding botanical based terpenes into cannabis vape cartridges, that if you're doing that, you have to have a label on it because you're just basically kind of cutting the product.
Yeah. You're cutting the product. You're artificially inflating it,
mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just number one side of me is I want my pot to be pot, mm-hmm. Right? The other side of me is too much of that shit is not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good for you to have too much. Mm-hmm. Like if there's something at my store or there was, that is 9% myrcene. That is a lot of fucking myrcene.
I've never seen it that
That's
high.
a lot. It's in a concentrate.
Ooh.
That's a lot of myrcene. That is not good.
Yeah, so
No.
I think that they should definitely have a label on the product, that it should be regulatory, that they have a product that says this has botanical terpenes added.
It needs to have some sort of label. And also, you get into people with, like you said, people with allergies.
Mhm.
You get into, well, okay, so technically, are we going to do what fucking vape juice does now and have to list the ingredients on the bottle for every single thing? So we're not discriminatory just on these botanical terpene people, because they're going to throw a fit because their labels are going to have to be bigger.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, though. Their label is going to be bigger anyway, because even if they do, what's the ingredients? Most of it is just cannabis.
Yeah. They do that already with the plant material.
It's just, that's like, how can you, that's like saying, well, we need like an ingredient warning on all the food. Okay, well, if you make something and add a whole bunch of ingredients, like, I don't know, Coca-Cola, you have all these ingredients in it, but then you're just looking at, I don't know, water. It's water.
It's water ingredients.
But there's
ingredients list on a bottle of water.
Water.
Spring source.
That's the difference. It is literally, if it's all cannabis derived, the only thing you're gonna have on there is just cannabis.
Just the same thing with the vape juice bullshit. It's just gonna be this. If there's nothing else in it, you don't have to worry because you're gonna see it on the fucking label.
Exactly. So if they're gonna throw a hissy about that, they're just shooting themselves on the foot.
Mm-hmm.
No, I do get it. They do already have to print so much fucking shit on a little container. But I feel like you should at least have a warning like, hey, this has botanical terpenes added.
Heck, there are some people who can't have certain terpenes. Awesome that comes from hops because people have an allergy to it.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. You need to make sure that that's on the label for people who have allergies.
And that's the thing too, is we've had a lot of patients come into our dispensaries that talked about, like, there are other states where they moved to or they went to recently to visit rec states that don't have the terpene profiles on them. Cool Nerd Weed Show talked about this. I know I've been talking about them a lot, but I've been catching up on their podcast. That's why. California does not have the terpene profile on the containers.
No.
Apparently a lot of states don't. And that kind of sucks. Like,
that does suck.
They're either not on the container, or they don't offer it at all. Because some states, like where Cadabra is, Cadabra has to ask for things in Arizona.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure. Now I don't remember if that's for the Delta 8 shops or the dispensaries. I can't remember. Yeah. And Cadabra, I know you're listening. Can you please let us know on that one?
Yeah, please let us know.
But yeah, oh crap, we're actually almost at that time.
Oh my goodness.
So I guess we'll just quickly wrap it up here. Yeah. Hi, I'm Rayven. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Alex. I use they, them pronouns.
And thank you for listening to another episode of
Smoking Out the Closet.
Cue the jazzy outro music.